push it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, Amanda Munchie's here and we are at the film bar getting ready to give you a sneak peek at the panel that's happening after the We the People documentary. So come on in.
You can go in either way.
It's gonna get dark for 1 second.
Cool. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. It's great to see all of you. And we wanted to, this is Mara Gordon, as you recognize her. And we'd love to take questions from you guys regarding the making of this film, and Mara's sort of a walking encyclopedia on all things cannabis. So don't be shy. Come on. Think back. It could be like the Ricki Lake show 10 years ago. Come on. We can talk about your relationships if you really want, but. You're not turned on, Mara? Yeah, you are.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. So, the first thing I want to do, though, is I want to say hello to my sister. My beautiful, beautiful sister. You guys saw her twice in the film and pictures. Francine, if you could stand up. And two of her beautiful daughters. Francine is, she's my older sister, and having her here, and having Aaron and Hannah here, and Hannah's wife, Ashley. Oh my God. It's so special to me. Phoenix has become like family.
If you're doing introductions, then I need to do
Of
it
course,
as well.
your turn.
Okay. Christian Evans, who you saw at the end of the film, was my husband, and the catalyst, the true catalyst for the making of this movie. He was on a mission to try to heal himself from chronic pain. Many of you knew Christian. He suffered from bipolar and chronic pain and migraines and a whole litany of issues, and he was researching cannabis and CBD back in 2011, and it was through his own curiosity and research and connections to finding Mara, to finding Dr. Courtney, who didn't end up in the final film, but literally this movie would not be here without him, and he passed almost 2 years ago, and so I need to acknowledge his beautiful family, who's my family. Pam Evans, please stand up. Mother of Christian Evans. And Colette Simonetta, Riley Simonetta, Leo Simonetta. Colette is Christian's sister. And let me just add that man is truly the best thing that ever happened to me. And his legacy, he was a man who lacked purpose and suffered in trying to figure out why he was here his whole 45 years, and this is why he was here. And so it's an honor to be here and present this film here. So yeah, let's questions. Who's got questions? Yes.
So I'm curious about if you have any documentations of cases that survived cancer or became cured of cancer using just the cannabis oil without the traditional Western medicine of the chemo, radiation.
Well, at this point, I assume everybody can hear. The question was, is there anybody that we have records of who've been able to become free of cancer without using other treatments other than just cannabis? That was the question, right? We've treated thousands of cancer patients at this point, of all ages. Our youngest one was in vitro. Our oldest one was 96. So I'd say we have just a little bit of the gamut on the ages. This just happens to focus on the pediatric, which of course is, why not? Why wouldn't you on these beautiful bald babies? But we've been treating these people, and we always encourage integrative approach to medicine. Now, having said that, we also don't dictate to somebody how they treat their disease. We're there to be of service and to meet them where they are. The one thing that I will not do is I will not co-sign going against the best judgment of science. If somebody comes to me and says, Mara, I'm going to use your medicine. I want you to, your doctors and your nurses to treat my patients or to treat me, and I'm going to get rid of this cancer. I don't care that the doctor said there's an 80% chance that I'm going to kill it with, X treatment. I'm going to say to that person, you've lost your mind. We can use the cannabis, concurrently with standards of care to treat the disease. But why would you throw away something that actually has a pretty good record? Now, if somebody has a particular type of cancer that has gone down all the regular roads and they aren't working, and everything is experimental and everything is making their quality of life completely, not worth having, at that point we'll say, okay, now you have a decision to make. But to just flat out refuse standard care when we know how much better cannabis works along with it. For example, Christina Sanchez, who's in the film, Dr. Sanchez, she did experiments that were actually the first time. My husband, Stuart Smith, who's also in the film, happens to be here also, and he's the real silent hero, It's in there, look at his eyes, yeah. It reminds me of Home Improvement, the guy who over the fence, yeah, right. But I mean, right. I was saying, cannabis kills cancer, cannabis kills cancer, cannabis kills cancer, and he's like, yeah, for years. And then in 2012, we heard her at Patients at a Time. She showed a presentation of what happened when you took THC by itself and killed cancer cells. And then you took TMZ, which is not just a website for 30 Mile Zone, it's also a cancer drug. And you used it to kill cancer cells. They worked about the same. When you combine them, they worked 50% better. So I would encourage people to use all of the tools in your toolbox and not just decide everything is going to be green.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you. When did you start gathering the data?
Day one.
Day
Day
one.
one.
How many years ago?
I started at the end of 2010. So it's been 8 years now. Well, this is January. It's been 8 years. I mean, everyone's always been making more, but when my husband had broken his back, and he's 30 years sober now, and was not willing to go on opioids in order to have surgery. I have significant health issues, which some of it I know is in the film, a little bit kind of alluding to some of it, that I was on a lot of pharmaceuticals, I was in a wheelchair for a while, I was on, my life was pretty well hell, and we were looking for an alternative to it. And, but I'm a process engineer, so I want to see data on everything, and if there isn't data, I'm gonna get the data. And that's what happened, is I went and bought a little mule skin, and from the very first dose of something that we bought at a dispensary, and it was like brownies and caramel corn, I was weighing it, and I was putting down time taking it, how long till feeling it, how long it lasted, what the results were. I mean, before I knew anything, I did that from the very first one. After I took the 2 puffs off the friend's joint or pipe and found out it actually worked, right.
Yes.
So I have a 16-year-old niece who I adopted. She came from a very traumatic circumstances, and she has bipolar and trauma, PTSD, and this is eye-opening for me, and so I'm here out of interest for her for the bipolar. So I'd like to know where, what was found out in that time frame, how it helps bipolar.
I can tell you with my husband, it did help Christian, but he was mixing he was on this search to find healing for himself, that he was mixing different, yes. But yeah, what is your data with bipolar?
Yeah, my data is, you have to be very careful. Usually with people that have bipolar, we try to keep it more on the micro to the really, really lower doses and not go into higher dosing. There's the biphasic, where, I'm going to use another example that I use on me, okay? I suffer from nausea on a regular basis. I use DGL, I use all these things, I use THC. But if I take too much THC, let's say I take more than my therapeutic dose, it makes me very nauseous. So it actually can end up causing the exact same things that you're trying to treat if you take the wrong dose. So it's very, very, very important when you're dealing with this. And I've met with Professor Meshulam in Israel, and we actually spoke about this, and he says, you know, stay with the dominant CBD when you're dealing with, you know, bipolar or schizophrenia and things like that. And, you know, you can do a microdose. When I mean by microdose, I mean like no more than 1 or 2 milligrams of the THC and the rest with CBD or CBD dominant.
First of all, wonderful movie. Thank you for Double Phoenix here. What I wanted to mention was my dad's going in for a hip replacement, and the his physician actually suggested to go get your medical cards. To our amazement, that was wonderful.
Congratulations.
But is there any way we could get this DVD for him or buy a copy for him?
Funny you should mention it. Yeah, it's available on digital. I think now. Now you can go to iTunes and get it. You can get a digital download, and then it'll come out on Netflix of 4/20 of this year. Yes,
You know, I
ma'am.
have another question with the bipolar. Are you saying use of CBD oil only, or in conjunction with psychotropic drugs like lithium, blah blah blah, all those?
I'm not saying that I'm not a medical doctor,
Right,
and I'm not
I
going to
understand.
practice medicine.
Have you
What I'm
experienced
saying
that?
is, well, if it is done under the supervision of a medical professional, which if you could see from the film, I'm very big on that,
Right.
okay? Because cannabis is an extraordinary medicine, and it has so many incredible uses. But like anything like it, it should be used correctly.
Sure.
And there's something called, for example, the cytochrome P450, which is the enzyme in your liver and the way that the over 50% of all pharmaceuticals are designed to be metabolized through this. CBD interacts with the cytochrome P450 enzyme, very similar to grapefruit. So it may make the drug that you're taking ineffective, or it may make it stronger. In fact, one of the reasons that people are able to, with their opioids, for example, immediately cut their opioids in half when they use cannabis, is because it's going through the liver in such a way and being metabolized that they're still getting more of an effect from it with a much lower dose. So with this, if you're going to use it in conjunction, somebody, even if it's your pharmacist or if it's even going to, you know, online on the internet and looking it up, on some of these drug lookup, you can look up and see the metabolization. You know, put in there how that drug would interact with grapefruit, and based upon that, you can do, I mean, obviously that is a rough answer to a very complicated question, but that's a starting point on how you should do it. Because if you're going to do that, the same way that like somebody might use cannabis, you know, right before they're going in for surgery. Well, if the anesthesiologist doesn't know this, they might not know to adjust the anesthesia. So it's not that it's bad, it's just that there has to be information that's shared so that they can respond correctly. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
You, yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you vaporize it, does it still interact like grapefruit?
Yes, it doesn't matter the route of administration. Now, interesting thing about inhalation, you're going to have the highest bioavailability from inhalation, but you're going to have the shortest span. So it's going to go up and down. So when you're treating serious diseases, what's really important is that you have a level within your blood that stays level, which is why vaporizing or smoking is really excellent for breakthrough pain or immediate alleviation of symptoms while you're waiting for the longer term to take effect. But it's really definitely not a medical approach on its own for treating disease.
We have time for 2 more questions. Yes?
How can we gain access to your
Data?
data?
Wow. I'm trying to raise the money right now to actually take my platform that all my doctors and nurses and our system's using and build it out to make it available to everybody. And I'm actually going through evaluation right now through this awful, miserable, corporate-y kind of thing with lawyers and accountants and all this, so that I can get the money in so that I can then have it built, because it is not cheap.
How much money do you need?
I need about $5 million to get this platform built, to have it be scalable, because I have doctors all over. I want this to be the plug-in for an EHR, the electronic health record system. You know how you go to, like, I'm going to the doctor, I have an appointment, I don't know, on the 1st of April or something. They're sent me 12 pages to fill out by hand. That is like ridiculous in 2019. What are they sending me these pieces of paper in the mail? And then hoping I bring it, and then you have to come 30 minutes early. Just send me a link. Send me to a website, I'll fill it out, you'll have it, you know, and done. So it'll be soon, but not
Have you
soon.
talked to dispensaries about that? Because that's a moneymaker in their future.
Well, yeah, we identified the top 5 questions, that if they ask those 5 questions, they can, with over 80% assurance that the answer is going to be correct on what they recommend, based upon the lab results associated with their medicines. So yeah, I
I'm
have.
just saying about them donating money.
Yeah. I got it under control.
Last question. Who's got a genius last question? Okay.
I'm a school board member, and I've been, we were in a discipline hearing trying to talk about a student coming back in. They'd used marijuana because they had anxiety. They got caught with it on campus, expelled. Going through board policies, we cannot allow marijuana to be on campuses because of federal funding, even though we've got state laws. So I was curious how you've dealt with the kids that you're working with, getting doses, how, even if you've had adults that have been on campuses like that, have you had success? Because we're trying to start some legislation here that will keep the schools federally, you know, compliant, but we can't keep.
You need to talk to that guy in the back row.
No, this is normal. Yeah. Arizona Normal is putting it together.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already in legislation.
Well, I can tell you that.
Okay, so yeah, my husband will be talking about that, but I was just curious about what you've run into when parents have to dose.
Well, I've had parents basically walk into hospitals, as you saw, and set up and give their kids the medicine right through their G-tubes. I mean, parents are warriors. They're going to do what they're going to do to save their kids. God bless them, you know?
So you haven't heard, the issue is that the parents have to go
we had one child, for example, who was at a hospital, and the hospital was freaking out, and so they contacted another hospital, and they had an ambulance move their child from that hospital to a different hospital. You know, exercise your right by changing. What you're talking about in schools is a little bit different, obviously, than a hospital where you have an option of where you go and you get a new doctor. Your doctor's not going to support you, fire your doctor, get a new one. If they're your employees, I mean, you know, they're not God. They get paid. You know, anyone that gets paid, you have the ability to fire. You know, just keep that in mind. But if you're in a school situation like that, then I hope this doesn't end up in the media, but I tell people, you know, sneak it in. I mean, you know, this is your life. I mean, really. I mean, this is your life. This isn't a game. This isn't a nice to have. It isn't like, you know what, I like to have a little piece of chocolate after lunch. This is medicine. And like, I travel all over the world with my medicine. I mean, I go to third world countries. I mean, I went to Poland with a syringe of extract and a vapor in my dipper so that I could do my medicine. And people were like, "Are you crazy?" And I'm like, "This is my human right." Right. And I mean, I have a right to treat my body with something. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not passing out drugs to babies. I'm saying, well, actually, I am. You know what I mean? I'm using it for medical purposes, and it's the way that I treat it. I'm not hurting anybody. I know it works, and as a result, energetically, nobody suspects I'm doing anything. And when you use cannabis therapeutically, and what I mean by that is a therapeutic dose, one that treats what you need to do and no more, then nobody knows you're on it anyway. So it becomes personal information. I would just tell them to take it at home, take something that's going to be longer lasting, you know, And then, you know, maybe they meet their mom at the fence at lunch or something if they meet.
On that note, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Tell your friends, check it out on Netflix or get it on iTunes. Thank you so much, everyone.
With the Bud Card and the Bud Show.
There's also a website, weedthepeople.com.